So today we live in a unique age of science and information, and there are some who claim that Christians really need to get with the times because the problem with Jesus Christ's deity and resurrection is that you can't prove them scientifically. And it's true, you can't prove those things scientifically. So Christians must have blind faith. People believed in God back then because they needed help with all their problems and they couldn't explain certain phenomena such as rain or earthquakes. But now that mankind is more advanced, the need for some kind of higher power is gone. Christians just can't accept the fact that old tradition and religions are dying and that we all must adapt to the age of science and technology. So the question we're going to answer today is, do Christians have blind faith? Now to begin, we have to start out by saying that Christianity cannot be proven scientifically. And there are some who believe that science and religion are totally opposed to each other because science is based on evidence and reason and religion is based on belief and faith. So are they really opposites? Are people really forced to choose one or the other? First off, let's look at science and the scientific method. Now, the scientific method is a process where people use techniques to gather data and information to draw conclusions. And you have a few basic steps that are generally followed. First off, people observe the world around them, which then leads to them having a question about something in particular, and from there they do research, construct a hypothesis or an educated guess, and they conduct experiments or tests to see if their hypothesis is correct. After the experiments are done, they analyze the information, and they can either draw a conclusion or do more research and make more hypotheses and conduct more tests. When it comes to proving something scientifically, people must be able to repeat the tests in a controlled environment. For example, if the farmer Tommy here is making a hypothesis that corn grows faster than tomatoes, if his environment isn't controlled, then his conclusions may be inaccurate. Both plants must be planted in the same area, be given the same amount of water, and given the same amount of care, because if these things weren't the same, then if the corn did grow faster than the tomatoes, then it may only be because that the corn had better growing conditions or because they got more water, etc. The whole point is that in order to prove something scientifically, people need to be able to repeat tests in a controlled environment. And if that's the case, no one will ever be able to prove Jesus' deity or his resurrection simply because you cannot repeat events of the past. What people need to know here is that the scientific method isn't the only way to prove facts. Let's think about this. Can you scientifically prove that Abraham Lincoln was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth in 1865? Or that George Washington was the first president of the United States? Or that Alexander the Great was mentored by Aristotle? Or that Socrates or Plato even existed? No, you can't scientifically prove any of those things because now we're not in the realm of science, we're in the realm of history. People still believe in the existence of Martin Luther King Jr. and Lincoln and Washington, Alexander the Great, Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, right? Why? Because they are historically supported. People wrote about them. People recorded their accomplishments, their ideas, and their contributions to mankind. And we have historians who evaluate how trustworthy these recordings are. So when people try to prove something historically, they evaluate oral testimonies and written testimonies, among other things. So can Jesus Christ's existence, deity, and resurrection be proven scientifically? Absolutely not. Why? Because you can't repeat history, and it would be foolish to try to. But you can support Jesus' existence historically. A lot of people say that Jesus is just a myth, a fable, a fairy tale, but you can look and see that Jesus' life is supported by thousands of manuscripts, and his biographies were claimed to have been based on eyewitnesses that interacted with Jesus himself. In fact, the New Testament of the Bible has about 24,000 manuscripts supporting it. So it's not like the claims of the Bible are empty claims. It's recorded that Jesus was born in Bethlehem, which is located in Israel, which are real places that you could visit today. On top of that, Jesus' life is mentioned by people who lived during Jesus' time who weren't even Christians, like Tacitus, Josephus, and Pliny the Younger. And if people try to deny all of these pieces of evidence of Jesus' life, then they would also need to reject the evidence that we have for other figures in ancient history. So when we ask the question, do Christians have blind faith? The simple answer to that would have to be no, because their claims to Jesus' existence is based on history, manuscript evidence, and eyewitness testimony. So we have Jesus' existence supported, but do we have reason to believe in Jesus' deity and resurrection? Go ahead and check out our videos defending Jesus' deity and resurrection. And if you have any questions, thoughts, suggestions, or if you just want to say hi, leave a comment below. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends, and we hope that you have a good one. God bless.